Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Church of England. And as many of you probably know, those names that we hear today that are the Church of England are Anglican and Episcopalian. They are pretty much one and the same. You go to any Anglican or Episcopalian church and you'll find huge similarities. The naming pretty much changes just because of geographical location or culture. And the interesting thing, similar to us Lutherans today, is that we're pretty much similar to how it was in the medieval times. Sure, things have changed. Obviously, we're not exactly the same. But if you went back in time to the medieval period and sat in an Anglican or Episcopalian worship service, you'd probably be able to tell as Episcopalian or Anglican without even looking at the door. So they do keep their tradition pretty well. So the Church of England kind of has a unique Reformation story, as their biggest concern with the church wasn't doctrine, like the other Protestants, but rather authority. At first, Protestantism was extremely attacked in England. King Henry VIII and Cardinal Wolsey did not like the Protestant movement. They were very much Catholic. And Luther's works and his followers were martyred and burned in England. And Cardinal Wolsey was the one on the defense. He was the one ordering all of these burnings of heretics, the Lutherans and the Protestants. He says that he didn't want to do that, but because Protestants didn't see the authority of the Catholic Church and the Pope, that it was better for them to die than it was to be spreading this false heretical doctrine. So he said he didn't want to murder a bunch of people, but he had to. That was his stance. But unfortunately for Cardinal Wolsey, Henry VIII kind of had a change of heart, as you will. Henry VIII wanted to divorce his wife, and that was extremely frowned upon by the Catholic Church. And because of strengthening his political alliances, he wanted to get in contact with the Germans. And because he noticed that Martin Luther spoke pretty highly of him before, he was like, well, all right, I'll relax on this persecution of Lutherans, and I'll allow Luther's works to be spread. So he was a sympathizer. He became a sympathizer of Luther. And if Luther was kind to him for the majority of the time, maybe England would have become Lutheran. But, as is typical in Luther fashion, he didn't care about political gain or political power. He was all about truth. And he did not feel that King Henry should get a divorce either. So all of King Henry's praise towards Luther and all of that kind of stuff went away once Luther didn't want to give him what he wanted as well. So what's a king to do when the Protestants disagree with him, the Catholic Church disagrees with him? What are they going to do? Well, he decided, I'll just get rid of the authority of the Pope. I'll be the Pope. And that's exactly what he did. So King Henry VIII took the authority of the Pope and gave it to himself, then turning into the Church of England. To this day, the Queen is the head of the Church. She is essentially the Pope of the Church of England. King Henry VIII published Henry VIII's Act of 6 Articles, which went through traditional Roman Catholic teachings and practices and condemned Protestant innovations. Again, this was King Henry wanted to be Catholic. He was very much Roman Catholic, and it was not an issue of doctrine or tradition for him, but an issue of authority. So he tried to stay true to his Roman Catholic root as much as possible, just it's Catholic without the Pope, basically. So although the Church of England had not so great a start, King Henry VIII was not a very good guy, and the church was started because of selfish reasons. The Episcopalians and Anglicans today are often the forefront of reform in this country and the countries that they reside in. They have shown great leadership in the pursuit of racial equality, as well as LGBTQIA+ rights and the ordination of bishops and pastors, or priests as they call them, and the ordination of women. They truly are pioneers of social justice, and with that, they have not stayed true to their past, and we're actually in full communion with them, and we view their ordinations just as highly as our own, and they have really turned into a pretty great church. So that's the Church of England. Quick history of the Church of England, and not much there. Just a king who wanted a divorce, who decided, heck with the Pope's authority, I'll become the authority of the church. And pretty much everything else stayed the same. Just Catholic without the Pope. Alright, have a good day, everyone. Bye.